Welcome to the Reality Check. Today's episode, October 16th, 2018. What do we have in store today? Well, of course, Focahontas, right? We have Hillary Clinton. We have Donald Trump, and of course, I'm in Arizona, Mesa, Arizona. We have Donald Trump rally coming this week. We also have the Mongers, and we'll talk about them. And, of course, we have the headlines throughout the country. So let's start off with Focahontas, the big news. She took her DNA test. She might or might not be Indian. So basically we got 6 to 10 generations back. She could be an Indian, but they didn't have Indian DNA to test her. So she might be an Indian, but they're not sure if she's an Indian because she could be an Indian anywhere from 6 to 10 generations ago. But they don't know because they didn't have any Indian DNA to test, so whatever they couldn't figure out, I guess, that have to be Indian. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. How do you have unlimited resources like this and come up with the crappiest test? You know, this reminds you of the Blasey Ford, the lie detector test. Here you are, unlimited resources to get this done. Could ask many questions, and all this excruciating time she had, Blasey Ford, and they asked 2 questions which were pretty much irrelevant. And this is kind of like going to the ice cream shop, and they don't have ice cream. Here it is, Focahontas, the fake Indian, Elizabeth Warren. She claimed she was Indian. Trump said he would pay her if she became the nominee and she took a DNA test to prove that she was an Indian. Which, 1, she took a DNA test that really didn't prove she was an Indian. 2, she's not the nominee, and we can only hope that she will be the nominee because she is a ball of laughs. Unlike low-energy Hillary, she's medium-energy Warren, who you can laugh about from many things from her, you didn't build this, and, you know, her Focahontas, the high cheekbones, and that's her folklore. Folklore or folk tale? That's really what you're telling us, Elizabeth. It's a folk tale. That's all we know about what you do there, Elizabeth. Sorry, but you used Indian to get ahead. As is the Democrat way, anything, religion, sex, whatever you can use to advance yourself, but everybody else is using that against you, supposedly. Even though you're using it for yourself, even though you say it shouldn't matter and you should be treated equally, you know, you'd rip your grandmother out of a job if you can say you're Indian and she's white, and then she wouldn't get the job. So, what else do we expect from Focahontas? Nothing surprising, nothing shocking. Hillary Clinton making the news. She has her little jabs, and, you know, she wants to talk about President Trump, whatever. Okay, whatever. You know, she's bitter, I get it. You know, you thought you were walking into the presidency, and you didn't make it. You lost. I mean, it's kind of like showing up to the Super Bowl, and not only were you like the undefeated team that everybody's anointed you because you've won so much before, you know, the legacy of your husband, but you show up and now you're playing a team that wasn't even 500, and you don't even know how they made the playoffs, but they did, and you've already won before, so you're going to win again. And you come in, and they outwork you, and they win the game. And now you're bitter. You think you could have won, you make excuses, we didn't win because of this, the ball didn't twist that way, the wind was blowing this way, the fans were too much weight on one side of the stadium, it leaned the stadium, tilted the field, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And then usually the next season comes on and you kind of start the way away. But not with Hillary, she's got no next season. So hopefully she'll run for president again too, that would be quite humorous. But Hillary claimed, and the big news about her this week is she claims that the Monica Lewinsky affair that her husband had was not an abuse of power. Now, I'll put that aside Yeah, that's a big softball I could hit out of the park. But let's put that aside. I mean, I don't agree with that it wasn't an abuse of power. It wasn't. I got to put it aside. I keep on saying, well, I'm gonna. It's just too, red meat there to rip apart. But forget about that. Forget about whether you agree, whether it was an abuse of power or it wasn't. Silly enough. But, I mean, firstly, and she said her excuse was they were both consenting adults. Now, firstly, okay, we're putting that aside that it was abuse of power. Now, let's just say Monica Lewinsky even worked somewhere else, and then Bill Clinton and her hooked up. So one, Hillary admits that he had the affair. Okay, that's good. You're kind of getting some honest statement there. You're admitting he had an affair. Okay. So then my question for Hillary would be, you admit they had an affair. They were two consenting adults, as you say. So how come you attacked her? How come you said she was mentally unstable? How come you called Monica Lewinsky trash? You insulted her at every turn. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that, right? Why would you insult her? Why would you call her trash? It's not her doing anything wrong. It's not her fault. Though you could say she's a homewrecker. That would be one acceptable thing. Absolutely. But in essence, your husband cheated on you, and you put the whole responsibility on her publicly. You attacked her, you insulted her character, you insulted her mental stability, you called her a liar, you called her a fraud, even though she came forth with ample evidence. I mean, it just shows Hillary Clinton again as a fraud. Here it is. She might as well be against the Me Too movement. She attacked a woman who, again, was taken advantage of at work, whatever you say or not. I mean, it's like the owner of a company. If you're coming down and hitting on the clerks, I mean, think about it. Think about any business. Now, I guess we have to get back to the abuse of power thing, but any business, let's say you're the owner of, the computer. It's a technical company. I don't want to say any names, get anybody in trouble, but let's just say you're the owner of one of them. You're one of these big owners. You're worth, $100 million easily, maybe $200 to $300 million. You're the owner, and you come down, and you guys have an intern working there, and you're hitting on her, and you're bringing her in your office on company time. On company time. Not on your own time. You're not going out. You're doing it on company time. She's there. She's trying to earn her way to get a real job, and you're putting forth pretty much a sexual proposition. So you did abuse your power. I'm sorry, I couldn't let that go, but abused this power, as always. But it just shows you what trash Hillary Clinton was. Attacking Monica Lewinsky when now it's two consensual adults. That's not what you believed then. That's not what you believed about Juanita Broderick, even if you want to say they were two consenting adults, even though it was rape. You attacked her. You attacked woman after woman. So you're anti-woman. Hillary's the war against women. That's plain and simple. We all know that. Now this week, Friday, in Mesa, Falcon Field, we have the Trump rally. Coming here, only, let's say, what is it, 15 minutes away from where I live? Not even? Sorry. Looks like there's something on my eyebrow. Ooh, man. Nope, it's just ugly eyebrows. Maybe I should pluck them. So anyway, Trump rally, right here, like 15 minutes away from where I live. And I'm going to the Trump rally. Hopefully I can get some footage, some pictures. We just got to be careful. I don't want to get kicked by any liberals. I don't want when I'm pulling out my phone, I don't want to get kicked by any liberals because it won't end well for them. But hopefully I'm going to have an exciting time there. It ought to be fun. Just the atmosphere and the energy in the crowd. So I've been to Tea Party rallies before, years ago, even when Obama was in office, and just the energy there is good. It's fun. You can talk to people and have conversations. Not like when you go to the lib rallies, all it is screaming, yelling. People just, the filth. The filth has to come out, you know. Okay, I'm from the East Coast. Everybody knows I have a potty mouth. That's one thing. I use curses. It's part of my vocabulary. I get it, but I don't go out of the way, you know, to say those things. It's not like every word. It might be part of a sentence. Okay, a word in a sentence. But when you go to these liberal rallies, you get like the pure filth. The filth of it all. You have constantly people just using nasty words, or they have to be naked, or they have to be, you know, they have to have babies, like plastic babies, or they're nude, like I said again, nude. Just every one of these things, you know, it can't be just talking and passing, you know, ideas. It's got to be filth, degeneratization, I mean, and that's what it is. Pigs don't even clean up after themselves. Just anger. I want to see energy. I want to see happiness. That's what I'm going to see, I know, at this rally on Friday. I'd be surprised if that wasn't what it was. I can't wait. Of course, you're going to see anger. I'm sure leftists will show up. Like last time, you know, that was a great moment. In Phoenix, I was actually at a radio station, which wasn't too far from the rally last time, so I couldn't go because I was actually doing my radio show at the same time. You know, the rally was ending and I was starting my radio show, so I couldn't go. I had to be in the studio. It was like maybe 15 minutes away from the Phoenix rally, and the epic moment of where the guy was throwing stuff at the police and they shot him in the bag with a bag, that was an awesome moment. So if I could catch something like that on videotape, oh my gosh, that would probably make my year, because that was a tremendous moment. That's what you get. You throw stuff at the police, and you should get shot in the bag with a bag. Now, there was the time when they were chaining themselves and trying to block the road. Liberals try to do that silly stuff. I mean, you know, police got to not treat these people with kid gloves. When they're doing stuff like that, immediately force, and the message has to be sent. Not acceptable. Blocking roads and stuff like that is dangerous, and it's going to start. The violent times will happen. You can only do that stuff so much, you know. People always say, remain calm, you don't need to fight, blah, blah, blah. I get that. Everybody wants to be calm. Look, I think about it. God forbid I ever got in a fight. I'd end up in jail, I know. And that's not good. It's not good financially. It's not good for some of the stuff that I do, the work I do from charity work and other work. It's not good for my kids. You know, it wouldn't be good for my wife, obviously. So we take some responsibility. But there becomes a time where people keep on poking you know, and eventually it's going to happen, you know. If someone's pushing you and you're walking away and you're minding, and somebody's pushing you, or, you know, they slap the hat off of your kid, something like that, it's gonna happen. It's life. You're a human being. It happens. It is what it is, right? So, that being said, Trump rally, can't wait to go. Ought to be exciting. Now we can talk about warmongers. Warmongers. Now, we know there's warmongers on the right. You know, you had and rest in peace, John McCain was a warmonger. Always, yeah, we need to send arms here. We need to do this. We need war. And he was part of that, you know, war complex. He probably profited off of it. And there are a bunch of people who do profit off of war. That's why they like it. That's some of the right wing. But the left wing, they're always anti-war. We're protesting. We're going to kill people in our anti-war protests. You know, doesn't make sense. But, okay, you're against war, anti-war. George Bush started this war. No weapons of mass destruction, even though there was. Let's get that clear here. Not that I'm talking specifically about this George Bush thing, but people always talk about, I hear the misnomer. You hear it from all the major talk show hosts. There were no weapons of mass destruction. And then they'll backtrack and say, well, there was a few that ended up in Syria, and yeah, we saw the trucks in the video, but that wasn't really mass destruction. That was only or whatever the excuse was. He had plenty of damaging weapons. Like we said, a bunch of them went to Syria. How do you think they have so much gas? How do you think? And it's not just the Syrian government. It's other people that are there. They got in on the act, trust me. And you saw the vehicles, driving over there that had weapons. But also, even the UN, which is not an American organization, they're anti-American. Even they said when they independently tested the ocean, the waters right there, that there was tons of chemicals put in there. So they knew there was more chemicals than they had found very little of. Obviously, Saddam Hussein was trying to call a bluff. He got rid of this stuff, and he thought, well, they're going to just come in and extract it. It won't be too bad, and they'll find out, oh, they're wrong, maybe they'll let me go. Obviously, that didn't work. But the bottom line is there was weapons of mass destruction. But that's not even what we're talking about here. So it's the bottom line for that part of the conversation. Warmongers. So you have your warmongers on the left. Wars are bad. Wars are bad. Obama started. He was the only president that had a war every day of his presidency. Those wars were good, though. The wars with the D's are good. Democrat wars, they're good. Now you have these same warmongers again. Oh, Trump's crazy. He's going to set a war off. He's going to shoot somebody with a nuclear. This and that. And Trump's talk tough. And he's got these other people to settle down. We just got another hostage free. No coverage on the news. Don't worry about it. We just got the priest free. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. And then they want him. What kind of deal? What did we give him? Who really cares, to be honest? I mean, as long as we didn't give him weapons or money, honestly, we got somebody free. I mean, I wouldn't deal with him. He probably gave him a threat and said, hey, you want to have peace? We're your friend. You want to get financial support from us ever again? We want these people released. We've gotten people released, multiple now. I mean, Trump's gotten. So, but you have these warmongers, and here they were immediately. Yeah, Russia did this. Russia, intellectual interference. Let's attack them. Let's ban them from this and that. They wanted to start with Russia. You had Hillary Clinton. After it was reset button with Russia, then all of a sudden Vladimir Putin was dumb, and she kept on the insult train with him. She wanted to reset with him, but then all of a sudden when she wasn't going to be in power, it was attack Russia, attack Russia. And now you have the same thing with Syria. Oh, yeah, let's attack Syria. They're shooting chemical weapons, even though we have no proof of it all. They say, oh, we have no proof. It doesn't even make sense. They're destroying the enemy, Syria. Why are they going to use the chemical weapons? If they wanted to use it in the beginning, or if they were losing it, then I get that. That makes sense, Obviously not good, but it makes sense. You're losing a war, they're going to stop at anything to win it. I understand it, but when they're destroying the enemy, they're in control of everything. Why are they going to take that chance of using chemical weapons where they know it's the only thing that can turn everybody else against them? Because otherwise, most people are going to stay out of Syria's business. It makes no sense logically to do. But here it was, you're left, attack Syria, attack Syria. Then Saudi Arabia now. So we have the journalist, not even going to try to pronounce his name, but he's missing. Obviously, everyone thinks he's dead. Could be the case. But now it is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia. This can't happen. We have to take out their leadership. We can't let this happen. On the attack. Trump's too close to Saudi Arabia. Everybody's been close. I mean, look, Obama, bowed down to the dude and, almost kissed the family jewels. But nobody said anything much about that. Don't worry. Trump tries to have good relationships with these people. You can blister and want to insult and want to fight everybody, but you're just a warmonger then. All you want to do, if you think you're going to go around and start insulting every country, which is funny because that's what they accused Trump of doing, and now he's not doing it, and now they want to attack him for that. We know it's a no-win situation, but in reality, you just got to know these left-wing liberals are warmongers. They say they hate war, but the war is on everything. They attack the whites. They attack, anybody who doesn't think their way. They don't want to have a discussion. They won't debate you. They'll just attack you. They're warmongers, whether it's domestically in the streets or internationally against other countries. They want war for everything. That's all they are warmongers. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, besides, of course, people with, mental problems. So you had, our headlines across, I guess we could say, the world. You have Trump ripping Stormy Daniels today because obviously he won in court, so her lawsuit's pretty much going to be done. They can appeal it, of course, Aventi, whatever. I mean, the creepy porn lawyer. So Trump ripped her, called her horse face, comical, but really, honestly, Trump should just be better than that. Just in the sense of, you're just giving this girl publicity, let her go away, let her fade away like the rest of them. Anything she thinks that she can earn a buck from, she's going to do. You know this, she's happy to, prolong this. This is how she's earning money. She's making more money than ever because of this, So, it's funny, though, because you have people saying, he's insulting her, how dare him do that? How many late-night shows has this chick went on with mushroom tips and this? She's talked about, the president's genitalia, more than these late-night guys actually talk about any news. I'm just saying, please, with the insulting, it's ridiculous. So we collected record taxes, obviously. So obviously tax cuts don't hurt our revenue. But unfortunately now, the deficit's growing and more because we're spending more than ever. And that's part of the reason why we got to have that big meeting on November 6th. A big meeting right at the machines or with our ballots and vote against this. Vote against all these spenders. There are a bunch in the Republican Party, and there's a lot in the Liberal Party. And you hear me say, some of the right's corrupt and all the left is corrupt. And that's the case, I'm going to tell you. There are people on the right that are corrupt. They don't want to cut the spending. They don't want to save a dollar. And they need to go. The difference is with the party on the left, there's no infighting, there's no thinking. You have people on the right that'll fight or argue because they have different ideas. But on the left, it's one idea, one theory, and one way they act. So if they're going to vote against something, they're all going to do it. There's pretty much almost no, and that's the way it is. When they're for something, they're for something. And that's why you got to vote every leftist out of office and vote any of these R's out. That had to happen before, obviously. You have to get rid of these people because we need to cut spending. It's just that simple. We don't have an earning problem. We have a spending problem. And it's not fair to people now that are working hard and do the simple exercise. I challenge America to do the simple exercise. Every day, every bill you get, and every time you buy something, write down how much tax you paid, put it on one sheet of paper, tally it up at the end of the month. See how much money you earn, see how many taxes you pay. There's not one of us that are under 50%. And people that are wealthier, that are paying, obviously we know there's some people who hide their money, but in general, the average person who earns even a good deal of money, you're paying well over 50%. Probably in some cases 75% of your income. Think about it. You pay your phone bill as a tax, you pay your electric bill as a tax, you pay your internet, there's a tax, you're paying your gas bill, your garbage bill, car insurance bill, taxes, surcharges, all over the board. You're going to the store, you're buying shampoo, you're buying diapers, tax. You live in a communist town, like Phoenix, you buy your groceries, you get taxed. There's no way to avoid any of these taxes. You're paying tax everywhere. And it's a lot. And then think about it. For these taxes that you're paying, you also have the payroll tax on a business, so they're charging you extra money to buy things because they need to pay that tax. So literally, not only are all the taxes that you pay on your list that you'll see we'll be discussing enough, and you got to think about how much more money these prices are put in to what you buy, like whether you're buying a cheeseburger at McDonald's and stuff, because the wages went up. So now they have to pay more payroll tax, which means they have to put that on top of the wage increase into the price of your food. So not only are you paying the tax on the meal you buy, but you're also paying an extra maybe $1 for the meal because of poor policies. So that's another 8 cents in tax as well there. So now you're paying your whatever tax plus the more, and you'll see how pathetic and sad it is. You know, that's it. The government's collecting more and more because of that. And you're paying more and more, and your money's devalued, and you're not getting anywhere. So instead of having money or being comfortable, maybe you're putting it on credit cards, and now you're paying interest because you can't survive this way. Because I'm telling you, if you add it all up, literally 50 minimum, probably closer to 75 for some people, of your money that you earn is taxed. You know, it should be your money. You should only pay, to be honest, 25% of your income in tax. There's no excuse to have any more. I'm sorry. Most of the programs we have, we don't need. You know, we don't need to pay to do research on how prostitutes hook up with people of a certain descent or whatever. The stupid studies that you see every year that we're paying as citizens so much money for. We don't need that. It's ridiculous. It's just a waste of our time, a waste of our money. And that's why our taxes are so high. So we got to get away from those people. Get rid of them. You know? So Ted Cruz and, was it Beto O'Rourke in Texas? They were supposed to have a debate, hopefully, tonight. So that'll be good. It'll be fun to see that. Last night, we had here locally, we had Martha McSally versus Kirsten Sinema. We had that debate, and of course, you saw how embarrassing the moderators were. It was just pretty rough, as you saw. The moderators were just trying to cut off McSally. They didn't want her to be heard, and we know why. I mean, we know, you know. You have Kirsten Sinema who says she loves Arizona. She wakes up to the sound, the smell, the listening to the doves. There's Kirsten Sinema. But if you listen to what she really said, she said that this is pretty much the meth lab of America. Not referring to the drug per se, but just that we're a dump. She's also said she'd like to hear something good for once come out of Arizona. And she's made other insulting remarks. So she's not the big Arizona fan she claims to be. She's not for any security. She's not this moderate. She's a left-wing extremist who's been at many a protests, you know, from hanging out with the arrested lawyer from the Blind Shake to many other things that good old Kirsten Sinema's done. And now her only good quality would be that she would come and debate anybody. And that quality is deteriorating because she's hid from a lot of people because she doesn't want to talk about her past. And you've seen none of the questions asked were about any of that stuff. The moderators, you know, they talked about Martha McSally and stuff she's done, her voting record and all that, but none of that stuff did they talk about at Kirsten Sinema. And for me, if I'm Martha McSally, it was pretty simple. They'll say, you vote 98% of the time with Donald Trump. Yeah, when he's doing things right, I do. When he doesn't, I don't. That's why it's 98, not 100. And let me tell you, I'm for America first. So yes, we have an agreement on stuff. And you have Kirsten Sinema saying that's no good for Arizona. No, it's very good for Arizona. The economy is doing well. You know, that's good. He wants security for Arizona. That's good, and I will continue to vote that way. When he changes his mind and does something that's not good for Arizona, I will vote against it. Because I'm for Arizona, that's it. And put a record up, put her, you know. It's just, I mean, that's it. So there's a caravan of the good old Honduras coming our way. Firstly, if they want asylum, They're already passing through other countries. That's where their asylum takes place. So legally, they have no right to come to America. That could be the end of it. But, I mean, if you want to go on, I understand people want to take in kids and stuff. And it's not that simple, you know? I mean, it's like, leave your front door open and leave some food up there and feed the homeless, you know? Feed the hungry. Let them come into your house. You know, are any of these people doing that? Are they leaving their front door open with a sign saying, come in here and eat? And they'll say, well, it's not that simple. They'll say, what if somebody bad comes in? What if somebody tries to rob my house? What if somebody's going to make a mess? I don't want to deal with that. I agree. And that's what we have here. We don't know if these adults are even the parents of the kids. What if they're just child molesters or, you know, pimps, and they're pimping out the kids? We don't know. But we're going to let them in and help them get on their feet? What if they're criminals, some of these adults? What if some of these kids are kidnapped and their parents actually want them back, and now we're aiding and abetting the kidnapping by letting them in? You know, just because 90% of the people are good doesn't mean we should be blind about it. And just because you want to come here doesn't mean you can. We have only a certain amount of resources, and people say, we're so rich, we're so this and that. If that's the case, if we're doing so great and we're so rich, then how come we can't find a way to get better assistance for our veterans? How come we can't find a way to get better education in our schools? And don't tell me, oh, it's a lack of funds, because it's not. On and on and on we give money to the schools, and on and on and on we give money to run the veteran hospitals and for programs. It's not run appropriately. And that's what we have. Sadly, that's what we have. So, unfortunately, there's the problem we have. We have a lack of accountability, and so we're going to throw more things onto a government when they're not even accountable for what we have. When everything's running smoothly, yeah, we can open up the gates a little more. But right now, it's rough. It's rough because we've had years of unaccountability. So before we worry about letting people in haphazardly, we need to take care of our own much better than we do. You know, we have people suffering all the time, people that want to work, people that work hard, getting attacked from within. And that could be from government agencies and whatnot, under attack. You know, when you just want to work and that's all you want to do and earn money, and you're under attack constantly. I know from personal, I can tell you, under attack when you just want to work and you're under attack. You know, if you want to lay home and be a bum and collect welfare, they don't bug you as much as if you want to go out and work and do something. Under attack. So, you know, let that be said. So New York City marked the first shooting-free weekend in 25 years. That's pretty good. I guess that's something good for de Blasio. Unfortunately, he already ruined that because, what did he... There was a very Orthodox Jew who was attacked in the streets. I'm sure a bunch of you saw the video to this. It was pretty rough. And this guy was attacking him, and then someone came in and tried to help, and this guy went after and tried to attack this guy. He literally went onto a bus. I mean, and so you have that it was I'm not into the hate crime thing, but they have it there and they're supposed to charge him, and here comes de Blasio coming in saying it's not a hate crime. You know, then what do you have the rule for, to be honest? I mean, what do you have the rule for? I don't understand what you even have the rule for. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. Why even have a rule if you're not going to follow your own rule? I mean, I don't believe in hate crime rule. I think it's stupid. Obviously, it's a hate crime. When you go to bash somebody's brains in, that's a hate crime. It doesn't matter what their religion is or not. It's a hate crime. So we already know that. That's just charge them for the crime, convict them, and be done. You know? we had so Hillary Clinton's bus crashed in my former state, New Jersey. Crazy. She was attending a fundraiser for another stellar character there, Senator Bob Menendez. Hopefully we'll say former Senator Bob Menendez. Just interesting. Interesting little footnote. Nobody hurt, thankfully. We don't want anyone to get hurt, obviously, but, you know. It's interesting. I was hearing something about Toys R Us trying to make a comeback today. I don't think it's going to happen. And the employees being unhappy. I mean, yeah, I get that. You were let go of your job, you were laid off. It was a poorly run company for a long time, though. I mean, you had to know that. The prices were just not close to what they needed to be. And people always say you can't compete. You can't compete with the Amazons, with the eBay and stuff like that. You can. You just got to buy smarter. It's a lot of times, if you look at some of these corporate structures, is the buyers, they just get paid a big amount of money, and then they get kickbacks from the people they're buying from, whether it's free toys or free tickets to this, free tickets to that. So they're pretty much getting paid by the companies that they're buying from. All that stuff adds up almost as much as their salary they're making from these companies. And they're not held accountable. So you're buying stuff at poor rates, poor prices, and then they'll tell you about what great deals they have. Yeah, I bought this, and I got a free t-shirt. I bought 10 copies of this thing, and I got a free hat. And that's great, but nobody in the store cares about that. You got something, you got a trip, you got this and that. As a buyer, you're making out like a bandit, but what value is that to your customers? Your customers don't care about what you got for free. So then you're putting stuff in the stores, they have poor prices, or your sales are just putrid. You got to understand something with sales. Obviously, people look for value. And is there really a value in, if you have something that's priced like, let's say $8 in your store, and you can get it everywhere else for $5, and then your sale is buy one, get one half off. So now I'm going to buy 2 for $12. But I can get it anywhere else for $5. So why would I come to your store? Your sale is garbage. If that's the price you have to be, at least have it, cut it to cost. Make the first one, $4 or something. Then maybe you'll get people to buy. Or make it at least an equal price and show them your variety. Show them you have unique things that are only to your store. And then you have the other thing of where something's on sale and it's never in stock. You have 3 for $10 on something. Like, wow, it's a good price. And they only have one. So you as a customer don't even have enough to buy, much less any other customer that comes in there and wants to get it. These are the things you have. Or arguing about accepting your own gift cards. Like, I don't know if it's poorly trained staff, combative staff. That stuff doesn't go. People always talk about the modern day shopper is an online shopper. Yes, because it's more convenient. Because you go to stores, they don't have stuff in stock. People are nasty there or untrained. They have no clue what's going on. Or don't care. I mean, how many times do you get to a register of a store and they're like, did you find everything you needed? And you're like, no. And they're like, oh, do you need help finding something? Like, well, no, I had a list of 10 items and 6 of them aren't in stock. And they're like, okay. How about finding out what they are? How about when somebody tells you something hasn't been in stock for a month, check it out. They don't even... They're building their lie, as my neighbor said. He was using that phrase this week. They're building their lie. Because you'll tell them, hey, this hasn't been in stock in a month. And then they'll say, well, yeah, we've been ordering it and it just doesn't come in. Do you know that, or are you just making it up? because I could tell you have a store down the block, and they had it in. They've had it in multiple times. Matter of fact, I keep on going to that store even though it's farther away because they have this product in stock, and you don't. So that's weird. And I went to a store the other day on the other side of town, and they had it in. So for a month, you're the only store not getting it in this area. I think you should call your warehouse and find out why that is. It's just excuses. Like, people want honesty. When I ran a grocery store, I was honest to people. They'd ask me, what do you think of this? And I'd tell them. Or they'd ask me about what I thought about something, and I'd be like, I don't know. But my theory is always start with the least expensive one. If you like it, then you're good. If you don't like that one, okay, then take the next step up in price and try that one. Eventually you're going to find one of these, whether it's tomato sauce or mac and cheese, that you like. And you find the one you like at the least expensive price. It's great, That's it. Save money. Give people value. If there was a product I didn't have, I would try to find a way to get it into my store. If they were, and if I couldn't, I even went to another store one time and bought something for a customer just because they couldn't get it in this area, and I knew where it was. It was far away, and it was, I happen to go by that area occasionally, and I told them, I said, no promises, but if I get in that area, I'm going to go take a few minutes out of my own time, and I will check for you, and I will bring you back some. And I've done it. Make your customer happy. What, $5 out of your pocket's not going to kill you. That's what business is all about. And that was me not even owning a place. That was just being a manager. Now, if you own your business, it has to go to the next level to make people happy. And that's part of the reason why some of these places are going out of business. Poor customer service. So if you're going to get poor customer service all around, then the other things you're going to have to look for as a customer is cheapest price and convenience. And so that's what you're getting online. You're getting a cheap price in most cases, and you're getting the convenience of it delivered to your home. Why do I want to go to a store, be insulted, be ignored, and not have stuff in stock? People don't, there's, some factors in shopping. People don't have unlimited time to shop. I can't go to 4 grocery stores. I just don't have the time. We're working full time. And we also have a certain budget. When I was working the grocery store, like I said, when I was managing, I'd hear people talk about make them buy what you want. Obviously, because you're looking for higher profit margins and whatnot. But you have to understand, you're not going to convince, I don't even like the word make, you're not going to convince customers to buy what you want if you don't give them what they want. So you have to have what they want in there, let them save enough money on it because you're giving them good prices, and then they'll have the extra money and think, oh, yeah, I see this here, I'll buy that. You're not going to, when you have $100 to buy groceries, you have $100 to buy groceries. You're not reinventing the wheel. That's what they have. So what you want to do is find a way to get all of that spent at your store by giving them good deals, making them happy, making them feel confident that you care, and then they come back and spend that money there because they know, I don't want to go to anywhere else. I don't want to deal with rudeness. I don't want to deal with out of stocks. I don't want to have to go to, 4 stores to get every single price that, every store has certain specials. You can go to 20 stores and probably save a bunch of money that way, but you waste more gas and time in that sense. And people don't want to do that with their life. But you have to give people what they want. You have to make them feel good. That's what that's about. And that's not what Toys R Us did. That's why they're out of business. They're still in business in Canada, I say, but that's why they didn't succeed for the last bunch of years. They used to be more friendly and better priced back in the day. They just didn't change with the times. And, that's the problem. With the stores, how they change in the online, if you kept your online updated and make it to where it could get to the store quick, yes, you have limited space and don't have certain things in, but if somebody can order it and then come pick it up, and they're always happy, you're happy to see them, and you're giving them a good experience, not only they come pick up their item, they might look in your store for something else and see something they want. But they'll order from you. So the lack of, them competing is because they didn't change and they didn't care. Just because you're in business 30 years, you shouldn't feel like people owe you stuff. And that's it. I don't know. I mean, that's the day and age you're at, So, we had a story I was reading. Pretty gross. So, police are investigating a disturbing report that a high school student made cookies mixed with human remains and gave them to unknowing classmates to eat. So it was at a Da Vinci Charter Academy that the police suspect there were ashes of the student's grandparent in the cookies. Now, of course, you've heard before about the pot-laced cookies, but cremated remains in cookies, that one's pretty original, I guess you could say. They were sugar cookies brought to campus, handed out. Just very weird. So they're working, obviously, to confirm that the two high school students were part of this plan. So they say it's going to be difficult to find out what crime they can be charged with. Yeah, I'm sure there's many crimes they could be charged with here. And if it was back in the day, I think justice would take care of itself in this, because a lot of the other students, when they found that out, would drop a beating on these fools. That is pretty gross and disgusting. And there's your lesson for the upcoming holiday season right there. So don't say we don't give you any lessons. Here it is right here. Moral of this story is, so watch out what you're taking from people, because they might say, they bake it, you get that, especially during the holiday season, people coming up with baked treats, giving them out to you, and you got to think twice about it. Think about it, I know it sucks to turn some of that stuff down. It looks good, it tastes good, but an experience like that would forever ruin your life and that, and just disgusting. Really disgusting. We had, was it Stacey Adams? No, I'm sorry, Stacey Abrams, right? She's the Democratic nominee in Georgia, running for governor. And she knows she's going to win because the illegals are going to vote for her. So saying something like that is pretty much sedition against the country. I think she should be arrested and not be able to run. I would just ask her to clarify that comment if I'm the police. If that's the case, lock her up. Lock her up, hook her up, It doesn't make sense. You can't... It's sedition against the country, plain and simple. It's illegal for them to vote, and you want them to vote. Just like California, last week on the show, we went over the fact that in California, another huge group of illegal aliens were put on the voter rolls consistently. And here we go again. If it's not California putting them on the rolls, here we are in Texas. And what do they want? They want them to vote. I mean, that's what we're getting in the modern society today. Fraud. Fraud, fraud, fraud. Hey, in essence, with the Stormy Daniels loss, and she'll have to pay Trump, if it stands, she'll have to pay Trump's legal fees. When you guys donated to the Stormy Daniels Fund, you actually paid for Trump's legal fees. Oh, man. That's pretty hardcore there. You'll hate that. Blasey Ford, she's disappeared from the news. What, almost $1 million? Gone. Yeah. It's okay. Remember, now that we're coming close to election time, and next week on the show, we're going to go over the Arizona ballot that I have. We'll go over, voting. We'll go down our props, because Arizona is a very prop state. We put things on the ballot, and see, this looks better than me. But we put things on the ballot and we get to vote on them, and they number them up, like 127, vote yes for this, vote no for that. There are Arizona ones, there are actually local ones for the town I live in, like for, if you want to spend money on this, or you want this in your town. So it's definitely very active voting, and you have to be part of it, pretty much. I mean, that's just pretty, you're definitely incorporated in it with all the props that we have. So we'll go over that. Next week we'll definitely go through what happened at the Trump rally and whatnot. So one story that is, troubling, we can say. It's just, we've talked about how we have a bunch of these social media sites, and, in these social media sites, they're kind of like, it's almost like election money, you could say. You have, like when people running ads on them, right? It's an effect on an election. So if you're blocking a party, it's not even a freedom of speech issue, it's an equal time issue, which, you have to have equal time. I mean, say somebody works at a radio station or a talk show host, and then they're running to be a senator. They'd have to give up their show once they declare, because there's no way that the radio station could give the other opponent equal time unless they had their own show, which had about the same amount of hours. So that's kind of what you have here with social media. They're pretty much blocking one party or one train of thought that's not theirs. We know about the purges under assault, and it's kind of almost making it to where there's no equal time there. So it's an effect on the election. You heard about the whole, Russian collusion thing, and them in social media, So we have to ask ourselves, is this just a bridge too far right now? Because are these social media companies really allowed to ban certain ads and stuff like that? It's blacklisting, censorship, their enemies list. But they're supposed to be equal time opportunity. Otherwise, they're affecting an election, right? Almost a violation of a Hatch Act as well. They're using their influence that other people don't have. I mean, right? Hatch Act, we hear about that a lot in the news lately. But Facebook actually took down a bunch of pages, and one of them was Brian Kolfage, who was a U.S. Air Force vet, wounded in Iraq. He's the most seriously wounded airman that survived from Iraq. And there was a page he managed. He took it over when somebody else decided to step down, and there were, checkmark 3.5 million fans. And Facebook actually said, to build your audience, you should advertise, spend money with us, you can reach your fans. And so they spent about $300,000 in ads. And as time went on, Facebook just made it harder and harder for them to reach people. Facebook shut down their page 2 weeks before an election. You look at the list of pages that were shut down, and most of it was just right-wing news, conservative, for Trump, the majority. Even Joseph Farah from WorldNet Daily said the story is sobering, maybe even shocking. Was this the election plan all along by the digital masters of the universe? Joseph Farah was saying. It's just something you have to think. This guy, Kolfage, not only a warrior who served our country, I mean, barely lived to tell about it. He wasn't some right wing that, here's a guy, he helped Gabby Giffords, I remember, former Democrat Congresswoman here in Arizona. Before, she was wounded. He was on the Veteran Advisory Committee. He endorsed her, and he helped her win her final election. He helped make a commercial for her. And he said that he was honored to be named somebody who inspires her. So he says he's not a conservative, not a liberal. He's just an American with deep beliefs in what our country stands for. And I mean, if you look at his work, you look at the people he supported, it's true. He's not just supported one group, he's supported many. And he is an American. And when you're American, you don't agree with one party. You agree with who's right. So, I mean, after over $300,000 in ads, they pretty much just took that away. At any time, people take your business away with no reason, no word. I mean, if that's the case, it should be made to pay back that money you invested in. It's just something of the modern times where there's a few big companies you get that control everything, and so you have to be on that boat or you really almost can't make money or get a word across, whatever, the avenue you're looking for. And now you're being controlled by these people. And if you don't play ball the way they want, you could be out at any time. So you've invested time, money, advertised, and they've gotten paid for it. They can say, people say, well, they don't want your business. They don't have to have your business. That is true. But you've also invested time and money and are an asset. So if they want to get rid of you, they should be forced to compensate you. It's sad to say that, but that's the point it is. That's your business. If somebody's going to close it down without notice, then they should be forced to compensate you for losses. I mean, it's plain and simple as that. I don't know. I mean, it'd kind of be like you renting out a building in a complex. You have your business, you advertise, you get people there, you're making sales, you're following all the rules, you keep your end of the bargain up, and you have a lease, and then they just come in and say, no more, we're just shutting you down. That's just not ethical, one. But two, it's not the way we should let business be done in this country. There aren't many things the government should be involved in, but that should be one thing, protecting the people from people that are so big they can punish you and there's nothing you can do to them. And that's what we see here. You have these big companies and they just take advantage of little people. They get what they need. It should be a partnership. Not saying it's an equal partnership. Obviously, you're a bigger business or a smaller one, but still, you're investing time, money, sweat equity. You play by the rules, and then they make up an excuse why you didn't. They should be held accountable. It's as simple as that. Like anybody in any business or any property owner in any property. So, I want to thank you for watching the Reality Check this week. We'll be back next Tuesday at a special place, a special time maybe. But we will go over the Trump rally, definitely. Any big news and headlines. And of course, we will go through the ballot. And we will check out our local Arizona props and, who we should or shouldn't vote for and against. We'll see how in-depth we can get with that, depending upon how much we have from the Trump rally and whatever news breaks next week. Have a safe and great week, and we'll see you next week.